Welcome back to another episode of Aunt and Andrew, where family's everything.
Until it's not. I'm Aunt.
And I'm Andrew. Hi,
Hi,
Aunt.
Oh, yeah, that's my line. Hi, Andrew. How are
Hi,
you?
Aunt. I can't believe that OC is over.
I'm ready. I was
It
ready.
seemed like yesterday that Tamra Judge came strolling in on the
motorcycle. I know it was kind of a fast season. How many episodes was it? Like 16 altogether?
Yeah, but you know what it was is they had different. I think that what really made it interesting, and it's why I think that Beverly Hills is good. Salt Lake City is good. They're not like one trick ponies. They're not one fight ponies. They
No.
have multiple things that happen throughout a season. And we
Yeah.
say like 2 to 3 episodes on one subject. It was like Jen and Ryan, then it was Emily, and then it was Gina and Travis.
And then it was back to Jen
Shannon,
and Ryan.
and then it was back to Jen and Ryan. Then it's back to Shannon. And
then it was the Dubrows.
Yeah, the Dubrows were the whole season. And then it was Heather's the victim. And I just think that like, when you look at some of these other ones, we won't name the one we hate. You can follow our other reviews if you want to know who we're talking about. New York. But anywho, they had one, like they had very minor issues that came up, but OC had like big explosions this season.
Yes, but I want to say at the conclusion of the reunion that I was a little disappointed that none of the husband's men showed up.
But that's isn't that an OC thing?
No, because we've seen Brooks before and stuff like that. I can't believe we haven't seen Eddie or I think that we have Shane, we had John. Well, we have had.
Well, Ryan turned down the invite.
Yes.
They only invite the one Eddie, that I think has the drama, unless you have Jersey.
Terry. Yeah, I know. Jersey, they're all there.
But if you think like, okay, Beverly Hills, they're not, right? Potomac, they bring them in. I'm gonna tell you why.
They brought the men in because they've had Todd, they've had Ken Todd, they've had Dorit with her husband, with PK.
But only when PK looked at Erica on Erica's bottom side, right? Like that was it. And I think Potomac has had the men, but that's because there's been a lot of conversations around like some of their husbands and like
I was just thought we could have saw them.
I think Ryan, but I still believe that Ryan absolutely, like, I really, 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 really believe that Ryan made the right decision.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you know, I'd like to know, I don't think any of the men were even there at the recording.
Oh, yeah.
You know, which is interesting. Considering in New York, I guarantee you when they recorded it, I bet you that Abe was hovering around because he can't get enough time on film. Okay, so this final reunion to me was do you think they re-edited this at all? Or do you think this was already in the can before Shannon went into the pot on the side of the building and crashed it and drove away?
I have a feeling that if they had re-edited it, they maybe would have been a little more sensitive to the fact that right when Shannon got the DUI. Now she's not in any inpatient program. Let's call it what it is, because she's spotted all the time out and about.
Right.
But she did say she was going to get help. And so I have a feeling that if they did re-edit it, they would have maybe made the DUI more present, or maybe they would have highlighted her calling out Gina more for her DUI to make her look like a hypocrite.
Okay. So you think this was in the can?
I think this was in the can because I just think they would have been a little more sensitive to the women saying that she needed rehab and she's because she clearly does.
No, well, this is what I was going to say. If they re-edited it, then they were wicked nice to her. And if this was in the can already, they didn't know she was going to go crashing into the pot and have a DUI because she's such a mess.
She is
just a mess. Now, she either needed rehab or she needs rehab, or she should be in rehab. I'm telling you, this episode, they really highlighted it. And if they didn't re-edit it, she's even worse than we know.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's stuff they got rid of.
She can't spend moments alone. I mean, that's what I got from the reunion. Like she said, you know, my kids are away. I go over to John's, and it's like, I have to say, John Janssen, I changed my mind on you.
Me too.
And I think though, but I may disagree with you. I actually give him credit for breaking up with her off camera.
Yes, but I don't like the ghosting.
No, I don't. But I will say I give him credit.
Ghosting is never, ever right unless you have a psychopath that calls you 90,000 times a day. Otherwise, ghosting is never okay when you've had a relationship with someone and you're breaking up.
100%. It's cowardly, and especially
it's immature.
Here's a little message to someone. If I ever see you after leaving my sister's stuff, your stuff with the doorman, I'll beat your motherfucking ass. How about that, motherfucker?
I don't think ghosting is ever right.
No, it's not.
It's never, ever right. And when she said that John would ghost her, I just put ghosting is bad always.
So maybe
especially
he didn't
when
restore
you've had a real relationship with someone. I get that that's your way of saying, okay, we're really done. Like, because listen, in my day, when you broke up with somebody, you just broke up with them. You didn't see them ever again half the time.
But you didn't have social media where you had to scroll and see them.
You didn't have social media. You didn't have a phone. You didn't have to. I mean, what you should do if you break up is you should unfriend people and stop following them on social media more than ghost. I mean, don't block their number in your phone. Let them contact you. But stop being friends online.
Before you get rid of them though on social media, find one of your friends that is friends with them or follows them that you don't think they're going to notice, and make sure that they stay friends and follow them so that you can always catch up.
No. See, I disagree.
Oh, no, I'm not saying day to day right away, but like, for example, there are some exes that now where I'm at in my life, I would love for them to watch me.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to watch them, but they can watch me.
Well, maybe you get to that later. I just think it's not good to see people on social media. If you move on and you're already dating, or maybe you had someone, that's really hard for them, like for, a girl or a guy. If you're watching the other ones already in a new relationship 2 days after you broke up and they're like all over each other and in love and they're great, it's too painful. So just don't follow them. Just stop following them. They're out of your life, but don't ghost them. That's my
hope
opinion.
Shannon Beador, there's two things here. First, so I guess John, I'll correct what I said. John didn't restore himself with me. John proved to me that he's not all in it for the fame.
Oh, because I don't know. I think
he would have, but auntie, he would have broken up with her on camera. Brooks would have,
but Brooks was a pure sociopath.
Yes.
I mean, John's not a sociopath. John just wanted to be on camera a little bit. And you know what also it could have been? He might not have wanted to break up on camera because he knew how fragile she was too.
Yeah,
and it might have made him look bad.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. And I think it shows you that when Shannon is not the victim here. I mean, I feel
she's
bad.
Not the victim. I'm surprised John stayed with her as long as she did, because she's a disaster.
Yeah, and I hate to say it.
She's a mess.
She reminded me of people that we know that need to always make it like they're the victim. They've gone through the most.
The victimhood.
It's there, like, because when she said I've been the most authentic on TV, at first I was like, oh, she has a point. But then I'm happy they all spoke up, because then when you really peel back the onion, Tamra's like, wait, like what?
Yeah.
Like, me and Simon, we literally, I asked for a divorce on camera. Like, I asked for a divorce on camera in the car. Like, Emily is like, I literally told the world that my husband failed the bar like 3 times. And I got Wade. Gina's face was everything. Gina was like, what? I literally called the cops on my ex-husband, got him arrested. We've become friends again on camera. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. I mean, and I'm going to say something. You couldn't pay me $1 million to get Wade on camera.
It takes me a lot to weigh myself privately.
Well, I weigh myself once a week, but
I don't really want to.
But I have to for accountability. But I'm going to say, if you offered me $1 million, I wouldn't get Wade. I'm just saying. So I give that to Emily. And now Shannon did go in front of the trainer. She'd gained weight. She looked horrible. She was bloated.
Yeah.
But Shannon has been drinking heavy for a long
time.
And Shannon isn't just drinking heavy when she films. Shannon drinks heavy all the time. And if you look at the pictures of Shannon from 10 years ago, she's had a lot of work done, which sometimes you do too much work. You don't look good. You actually look worse, I think. But she's so much more bloated and stuff. And it's not just age. It's her heavy drinking. It's just that simple. People who drink heavy like that, I mean, she's not just drinking, she's drinking alone. And like they said, she'll call you plastered at night and tell you everything. And then she doesn't even remember what she told you and that she told you not to tell anybody, but she doesn't even know you know.
She also doesn't remember who she told that night because I know.
Because she doesn't remember who she called.
I used to, when I was drunk and I had stuff going on in my life, I used to call, like I had like a rotation of people that I knew would let me talk for like 30, 40, 50, 60 minutes, wouldn't tell me that I was a mess, and would support and like give me just, I guess, some empathy around like
space.
The
so bonkers
shit that I was spewing, like the stuff that I was saying that like might have been happening, but like I was totally forgetting to tell those people what I did to cause it, right? And I think that's where Shannon needs to have a very tight circle, unless she changes. But if you want to keep doing the same things, Shannon, you need to have a very tight circle. They can't be on the cast with you. And they have to be people that you do so much for, or that you are so valuable to them in their life, so that if you do have a little tiff with them, or if, you know, there is some sort of, what's that word? It's when there's like the opportunity in front of them, or when there's that urge to like be like the opportunist to kind of come after Shannon or to get some attention, that they don't think that way because they care about you too much. And I don't think she has those people in her life.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And I also think that she's very needy as a human being. First, her problem is she's so needy. Second, her girls have left her. And I can see now after this episode and seeing where she was mentally with this episode. And then with the finale of the reunion. And it said that the DUI was 10 days after?
Yeah.
And you can see she's a mess.
That was hard for me to that was hard for me to like absorb the timeline, because like when I like before my second one, I really felt like there was a month that I was like spiraling leading up to it, that I was catching myself with just enough space to not get in trouble or like to not ruin my relationship.
So you can see she's in that same spot.
And you can't really notice it because like she seems someone similar to me where like she did a good job like hiding 90% of it.
Right. Yeah. And she was a functioning alcoholic.
Yeah. And it was when she couldn't handle it anymore. And she also reminds me of someone that isn't like waking up and having a drink. She's someone that truly like has zero limits when she is using alcohol to cope with all the bullshit in her life. And because the bullshit was not being addressed healthily, it just kept getting more and more and more, meaning the drinking was more and more and more. And so that, I mean, it's too reminiscent of Gina, I think, too. I think Gina will say that it's very similar to her. She wasn't someone who drank like right when she woke up. She's someone who just used alcohol as a way to cover up all the stuff she was feeling and all the stuff she was going through. And that's what Shannon did. And it just hit a tipping point.
And I think Shannon I hope she's getting help. I really do. I hope Shannon is and was getting help. Shannon's also been on Ozempic because she lost a lot of weight. And I told you before, the Ozempic liquor affects you different when you're on Ozempic, sort of like the Ritalin did with everybody when they were taking Ritalin and Adderall and the alcohol. And so we don't know how she was metastasizing this liquor, and she's not having a glass or two of wine. She's doing shots of tequila.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Yeah. I mean, she's using heavy alcohol. She's not having a beer. I mean, it's not like she's having 6 beers. No. She's having 5 or 6 shots of tequila. Yeah. I mean, she's and she looked terrible. I'm sorry. She did look like a madam. She looked like she was in the Western Saloon. I said it. And then Andy said something about it. What did he tell her she looked like? He did tell her she looked like a certain way.
I don't know. All I know is
she
Judy
has poor judgment.
Okay, Judy. That's all I'm saying. Judy?
Oh, Judy is the person she calls when the name, just because it's no one.
What about like, isn't it like Jan Brady? Isn't it like Karen, like Karen's of TikTok?
Judy? Yeah, the Karens. Yeah, Marsha.
Like all I think about is somewhere over the rainbow.
Me too. It's sad she's alone, Shannon, because she is alone. I mean, I can see her wandering that house with Archie and just drinking all night long because she's miserable.
It's sad because it's real. Like she's clearly like she's just alone. Now, like anyone that thinks it's
not
just
only
an alcohol
just
thing
alone,
is wrong.
No, totally. And not only is it that she's alone, it's that she needs people. There are a lot of people who are alone and they like it that way. She's alone and she doesn't like it that way. That's the problem. She wants her kids. She misses them. She misses having a man in the house to take care of her. John wasn't taking care of her. We found out she was paying for everything. So I thought he had a little money and he was a little bit of a man and picked up the bill, but I guess she was doing it. And then everybody's gone. John left her kids are gone, she's alone, she's with the dog, and she's needy.
I have a bold prediction that Shannon's either going to clean up her life and she won't be on the Housewives for long, or she's never going to clean up her life and she'll be on the Housewives as long as they don't fire her. And the reason why I say that is because if you look at her trajectory since she's been on the show, she's only been someone that we've liked, that we've laughed at, that we've laughed with, that we've like thought was fun and entertaining through her chaos.
Yeah.
Starting from the beginning when she came on and had the breakdown and Heather said, oh, she's having a mental break. And then you see her through her divorce. And then you see her dating this person and that person and this. And then it's like, this is happening and that is happening. And it's like, I just think that there's chaos. It's like she's either heavy, she's drinking too much, she's breaking up with someone, she's getting cheated on. It's never like, you know,
which shows that she is in constant conflict, though.
Yeah, like she doesn't ever have when Vicky's not relevant. Vicky sends Andy a picture of her next to every single seat at the reunion. Like it's funny.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. She must have had terrible FOMO, don't you think?
I think that I'm surprised. I bet they said to her, you want to come on, you're going to be on for like 5 minutes and you'll be here for an hour and you have to get ready the same way and you have to go through the whole kit and caboodle. We can't guarantee when you'll be called out. It'll be between these 3 hours and you're only going to be on for 30 minutes. And I'm sure she was like, no, it's not worth it to me.
Yeah, probably. I want to tell you too, I was glad we found out in this episode that Shannon has a bony vagina.
Oh, I mean, it's just weird.
I don't know why they talk about such things. I'm just saying. And the idea you have to bring it up. Now, did you think we can leave Shannon? We'll probably come back to her, probably circle back to Shannon. Yes. Did you think that Tamra was a little bit out of place when she said, be quiet, Andy?
I don't when they've been on the show this long. And the reason why is because I truly feel that I don't like the housewife that is too obsessed with Andy, and I don't like the housewife that is like how Mary was on Watch What Happens. I don't like how Mary was on Watch What Happens Live the other night.
I don't horrible.
I don't like the people that are like that think that they can like complain to Andy. Like it's like Andy Cohen is there for one reason and one reason only, and that is to create good television and stir the pot. And you need to know that. And I think you need to keep him at a short little distance on his leash, and you need to play with him a little bit, not give him too much. But I think that
which does every
let me finish. I just want to say the last part is that Tamra, I think there's a select group of housewives that have been on the show for a very long time. They don't look at Andy as exec producer or as the host of a reunion. They truly look at him as a colleague, as talent on Bravo. And I think it's because they've been the butt end of his jokes. They've laughed with him. They've been to his, baby shower for his kid. They've done all these different things that, like, with Tamra, Andy Cohen has seen her fall out of love and get divorced. Andy Cohen has seen her fall in love and get married. And Andy Cohen has seen her go through a custody battle, her daughter being on TV, not being on TV. Andy Cohen fired her. Andy Cohen brought her back. She also has a hit podcast where she brings on a bunch of housewives. Andy went on her podcast. There's a level of rapport there that I think allows Tamra to say that. Now, did she say it the right way? I don't think so. but I don't think it would have been the right way if she said that to Shannon that way. I think but she's able to, I think, say to Andy, chill out. Like, I don't think Jen could have said that. That would have been weird.
No. Okay. And this is what I was going to say. There is a housewife on almost every city that has that leeway with Andy that no one else on the cast has.
Yeah.
Lisa Vanderpump can get away with almost anything she says to Andy Cohen.
Yes.
Tamra can get away with anything.
Yes.
Teresa can get away with anything.
Bethany could before.
So Nene could for a long time, and she really fell out. But there's always been one favorite, and he liked that snark in her where she knew she could do it to him because they had a different relationship.
He has a favorite on every series. Like Meredith Marks is his favorite on Salt Lake. You can tell because even when Angie K was and Angie K was talking about her so bad when she was on, Andy felt uncomfortable. He was like, okay, let's move on. And he doesn't know what to say when his the head bitch in charge, right? Like the HBIC is mentioned in a bad way. And he curls up in a ball and doesn't know what to do.
Right. And then there's also housewives that he tolerates and really doesn't like in each city too. Like he never really likes Jennifer Aiden.
Never. No, he's always like too pushed by her. I think that on OC, he doesn't, I don't think he really likes Shannon that much. I hate to say
I don't think so either. I agree. I can see Shannon.
Like in Beverly Hills, I think it might be Rinna.
No, I think he likes Rinna.
I don't know. It's tough. I mean,
I'd have to think about each one. Maybe they're all not, but
we know who it is in New York. Poor Jilly Zarin.
Yeah, well, Jill's an example of somebody who came in and out of love with him. I mean, he loved her, hate her, blah, blah, blah.
Jill never backed down from Andy. She never cared.
No, she didn't. Well,
she cared about Jill.
She recorded him.
Yeah. So
think about it. She recorded him, Okay. So, Shannon, she did that. Emily still was a little off to me.
No, I think Emily had to face the mute. I think Emily became relevant this season, and so did Gina. And I think Gina,
without each other,
Gina has an excuse for her past. I love it. It's I have it too, so I know how it feels.
Right.
You can kind of blame everything on your drinking and the things you did. Now, if you are just blaming it, but you're not doing any work, no one lets you use it. But when you're really doing the work, people do let you use it. And so I think Gina, in my opinion, Gina had a perfect season. She really did. For her to come out of she really, and I don't think she planned it that way. I think that it naturally happened because of Shannon. Right. Shannon gave Gina an opportunity to be really relevant, and she took advantage of it. Yes. And I think Emily gave herself the opportunity to be relevant. And I think that she's still trying to find her way as to what's the best way for Emily to navigate filming to get the best response.
All right. I think Emily's season, she said it was a fun season at the end. Emily doesn't bring a whole lot though, except for the Greek chorus in the background.
Do you also think that it may have to do with the fact that the pressure was on Heather, Shannon, Tamra, obviously Jen, but Heather, Shannon, Tamra got a lot of punches this season in different ways.
Right.
And Gina and Emily, the main characters were looked at times by the characters, but also by the audience as the worst, as the mess.
Yes.
And I think that they've put the main characters have used the new women, kind of like what Tamra tried to do with Jen. Didn't work. It failed because Jen was able to really, I think, hold her own. But usually the main characters are trying to find ways to make the new ones or the ones that are not as prominent look a mess, get in trouble, make big mistakes, be the people hate. And I think that Emily and Gina have always had to make sure that they were not being manipulated by the Shannons and the Vickies and the Tamras and the Heathers. And I think this season, because those main characters kind of shot themselves in the foot, Gina and Emily were able to have a lot more freedom to be themselves, to share their own lives, to make their own mistakes. And that's why we were able to actually see them as people. And that's why they were able to kind of emerge. And I think this season was the perfect cast.
Well, they said they thought it. Oh, well, you did notice at the very end, we have the best cast right now. This is the most perfect cast we have. We complement each other. This is great. And I just thought to myself, they're all afraid they might get fired. So they all collectively decided to say it could be any one of us at any moment. So let's say this is perfect. That was
I don't think
opinion.
Heather Dubrow is going to be fired. I think it's going to be a transition season where she's like a friend of, maybe.
Well, what did Tamra say at the end? Oh, we're all going to Heather's house in Beverly Hills. And then wasn't Heather funny when she said, oh, we're going to miss that house. And she goes, well, the next one's even better. Oh man, that's just a way to make those women feel so insecure, because she did say that she thought she was, they were implying that Heather was the top dog before. And that was Heather's problem this year, is that she wasn't the top dog, because Tamra came back and she's alpha dog.
You know who Heather needs? A friend like they need to bring Monica on from Salt Lake.
Well, no, someone similar, but not Monica.
I know, but I'm saying Heather and Monica would be good friends, because Monica would love Heather, because Heather's not like Lisa Barlow, who like Heather, if Heather lost a $60,000 ring, she'd say, oh my God, I can't believe that. And she'd call Terry, she'd call her attorney, and then she'd move on.
Yeah.
And she'd have a new ring waiting for her.
But we don't know what she would do if there was, I remember, poor Lisa was in the bathroom. I mean, that's the thing.
Shannon or Heather Dubrow wouldn't have been in the public bathroom at an airport.
That's true. But Lisa was, and it flew off her hand. And you know what? I'd be crawling on the ground looking for the ring too. I mean, like one of the women said in that episode, they were in the tampon box, looking for the ring. If you lost a $60,000 ring in a public bathroom, you wouldn't crawl on the floor looking for it?
Could you imagine if Lisa was this manipulative that she put the ring in her pocket and did this all to create a show?
Oh, I would love her for it.
I think it would be genius, but
I do too.
Could you imagine if like at the reunion, she comes out and she's like, all right, guys, I didn't lose the ring. I just thought it'd be funny.
Oh, I would say I would never tell anybody.
Oh, I think it would be great to tell.
Oh, I'm going to tell you. So, okay. One other thing I want to touch on with OC before we put it to bed for the season is this vault. The vault. They kept on talking about, like, there are certain things we just talk about and it goes in the vault and you don't repeat it. You can't do that ever with these people. It's silly to think that you're going to tell somebody something in confidence and they're not going to, at the worst possible time, throw it in your face on one of these shows. So my recommendation is don't tell anybody anything if you don't want it on TV.
But if you want to ruin, if you're friends with someone and you don't want to be friends with them anymore and you want a natural way, tell them all your stuff and then film a show with them. And I guarantee you they're going to open their mouth and then you'll have a reason to hate them.
Yeah, I mean, totally. Okay, so they ended it with that there are a lot of individual egos here. Well, isn't that the truth? So we ended it with Emily saying this was a fun season. Jen saying it was my first season and she misses everyone now.
I think it was nice what Tamra said to Jen.
Yeah.
And I believe it. Tamra does know how to apologize.
Yes. Yeah. Better than Shannon. She doesn't have a clue. Now, Gina says she misses everyone, but she's happy to finally move on from the past. And I thought that was the most mature statement that she's made. Like, she misses you people, but she's happy to like get past it too. And the rest are Shannon, she's terrible. I was surprised that Heather Dubrow said she enjoyed the sisterhood of the Housewives.
I think Heather Dubrow enjoys being the rich big stepsister that buys monogrammed gifts for people. But I also will tell you, when they're like, oh, it was a joke, the monogram thing. At my lunch celebrating my network, I would be offended if someone said, oh, why don't you monogram it on your head?
Yeah, I would be.
Now, if someone said, oh, I thought the napkins would be monogrammed, like, that's funny. But to say, like, let's put an HD on our heads, like that, in my opinion, is like, it was a joke, but it wasn't a joke that like Heather Dubrow is going to take that well. And she should have known that.
not only that, but I mean, like you go to a wedding and they always have like the couple's initials on the napkin. So I didn't think anything of like the napkins, and the menu will always say the couple's name when you sit down and stuff like that. So I didn't think Heather was her
How
party.
about the fact that it's HD? Like we have HD
it's Heather
television.
Dubrow and
It's a play
HD.
on off of it.
Yeah, totally. I didn't think she overbranded the
Same.
HD. And so, but again, Emily was drinking.
I know, like I totally know. And I have to say too, that like, I don't,
how do you think these shows are going to move forward now that Bravo is recognizing that they're all of them overdrink?
I think that Bravo will do their due diligence to make sure that they are protecting themselves. So they will make sure that there's absolutely no drinking and driving when they're filming, which I think they already do. And I think that they will make sure that they put all of those disclaimers on TV the minute that it goes to commercial. If you're struggling with alcohol, like that,
right.
That was something that we used to see for like anytime they mentioned suicide or domestic violence. Now we see it with anytime there's an over drinking situation.
Right.
If the word alcoholic, rehab, recovery, anything is used, they show that after.
Yeah.
And I think that they will watch out for people who, like, I think that someone who maybe gets wasted, causes a fight, and like, I think, remember when Erica yelled at Garcelle's son at her birthday?
Yes.
I think that was
so bad.
But we haven't seen Erica like do that multiple times. Like we've seen her like defend herself. We've seen her fight with the women. So that was a one-off. Now, if Erica did that at every party and yelled at kids and production and all that, I think they'll get rid of someone like that. Yeah, so I think what they'll monitor now is like the people. I would have gotten fired on Housewives. Why? Because I would have been drunk like every time we filmed. It would have been common that I was causing problems. And I think they're going to watch out for people who are alive.
You would have had a pattern of abuse.
Yeah, like I would have been put on pause, and it would have been like, you can do whatever you want in your personal time, but like a job, you can, you have to be healthy, and you can't be putting us in a position where every single time you film, you're wasted. Right. And then we have to answer to the critics that we're not addressing your substance use abuse.
No, problem. I totally get it. I totally now. And Jen Aiden in the New Jersey, she could be tithering on the edge just for that reason. She's gone after people multiple times. But
she's not always like that.
She's not always like that. But she does get wasted too. And
I also think she's open about it. She goes, I want to party. I want to get drunk. I want to have fun. Shannon, this is the other thing too, is that the people that are trying to hide their chaos, Bravo needs to be more aware of that, because that's where I think Bravo becomes like they're enabling. And they're not enabling because even the women don't know how bad it is with some of their cast members. But I think if they get wind of something, they can no longer be complicit, where they're going to be like, oh, it's okay.
Right. They can't.
They can't. They have to speak up. They have to say something. They have to put someone on pause. They have to do all of that.
Okay. So final thing, let's rate the season. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this season of OC?
I'd say a 8 or 9.
Okay, I was going to say 7.5.
Okay, we're pretty close.
Yeah. I think it was a good season. It wasn't a fabulous season. There wasn't like crazy off the chain, but Vanderpump is going to forever. I mean, that just raised the bar, Vanderpump Rules. Oh, and nothing is ever going to, that was a perfect 10, Vanderpump Rules. And so nothing's ever going to quite come that high in terms of a season. Jersey's had some amazing seasons. And I would say the season that Lisa Vanderpump left Beverly Hills was a really almost perfect season too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it was a solid 7.5. I'd give it a B- in terms of excitement.
Yeah, and my mind was blown.
It was a B.
My mind was blown that like this truly was the first reunion that like they ended in a way where everyone was at peace and wasn't screaming and yelling, and everyone was able to go out to dinner and hang out. That was because when you really break down what a reunion's supposed to be, it's truly supposed to be to get through things. And I could see Andy being like, wow. Oh my God.
Which is probably why it was only 2.
Yeah, there wasn't like they were able to move past things. And I think that it was
Right.
something where, and if in the ending, I think they may have cut out even some dark moments of the reunion because it ended so positive that they didn't want to even mess with that.
I hope so. All
Okay.
right. Well, do we
My
do
daily
it?
mess, I'm sure, is yours.
Yeah. Shannon Storms Beador.
Janssen the third. All right. I will. We love you. Comment, follow us on Instagram for Aunt's special posts.
Yes,
Aunt
that's
and
it.
Andrew.
Aunt and Andrew on Instagram.
And we'll see you on our next review. Catch you later.